Hello and welcome to the Battle Lounge. Today we're looking at the Tavern, which is part of the ClickyWalls system. And the ClickyWalls is amazing because what it essentially allows you to do is build any kind of building structure out of simple wall segments. And you can take all these, let's move that over there a minute. You can take these apart level by level. But you can also rearrange the levels just with simple little clicky. Let's look at this bit here. So this, for example, you could use as a little standalone building. And roof comes off, you can play your pieces inside, you can set everything up before you're beginning your campaign. However, if you want to, you can change these up just by simply unclicking them. So we'll just take that floor section out, and then all these parts just click together. So the idea of this kind of came from stickle bricks, which is what I used to play when I was a little kid, before I was even old enough to play with Lego. And the system's great because each section, like this section for example, it's your standard wall double window section. The framework for it is exactly the same for every single piece. So this is just a solid wall, exactly the same shape and size, but then you have your connectors. Mostly the connectors are just like the star connectors or cross connectors that you use. Best way to put them together is you just put them on a flat surface and just click them together, and you can hear they just snap in. So that's really tough now. It's not going to fall apart when you're playing with it. And then you can literally design whatever you want, any sort of size you want, massive or just a little single rooms like this. Now we do have the connectors that are that are just like this one we call an elbow. It's only got the 2 bits on. You don't normally need to use those, but in this instance we're using them because there are a couple of times when you might need to have it button up against the rooftop. So for example, if we put this on here where you've got a bit sticking out, the roof won't go up in against it. Actually it's this roof. It won't go up against it because you've got those bits sticking out. So that's why we do have the smooth ones, and then that roof section will just fit in nicely. And then this one will fit in again on there. We've got other little bits and pieces, so like these overhangs. So for that, this part here, this is just like a little section. So it sticks out, so it's not a full wall, it's a little half wall. So when you put this on top, the support's really, they're aesthetics. They're not actually supporting anything, because as you can see, you take that off, it's not gonna fall off or anything like that. So you can play with these, you can build all your houses, put them around on your table. If you want to, you can have all the characters that your player characters may meet inside, get it all set up, and they won't know who's in there without peeking through the window or something like that. But then as soon as you take the roof off, obviously it's going to reveal what's in there. It's one way of playing, or you could just put everything in, set it up afterwards. Now inside, as I say, when you build these, so this, it's nice and strong, it's solid, it's FDM, it's not resin, which means it's super lightweight, but super strong and super accurate. Accurate as in dimensionally stable, not accurate as in the detail. The detail's not that great because it's FDM. You know, you wouldn't want to be printing your little miniatures with FDM because you just wouldn't get enough detail. But when you're doing big builds like this, it's so much cleaner and easier. You haven't got all the rinsing of the, you know, the resins, and you haven't got all the smell and thing like that. These literally just click off of the bed. You print them, you put them off the bed, you click them together. There's no assembly other than the actual assembly what you're doing. The windows, for example, these are printed in place. You didn't have to do anything. They come off. This one, so this one's never been opened before. It's got a little bit of resistance on this window. And when you open it, you just feel that little bit just as it comes loose, and then it's working. And it's the same with all the, like the doors on this one. You can see that this one's obviously got the little balcony on. Again, the balcony, this is just a little attachment that comes off, so you can put balconies on any level you want. Different types of roofs as well. So you've got, this is your standard roof, which will just fit anywhere. In between the roofs, obviously the space is a little bit smaller, so you have that middle roof. And then you've got these little side roofs, and these are done slightly differently. You kind of put this bit on, and then it's a flat bit that prints off, and then that just clicks on. Again, they click in a couple of different ways. You can do it on the top holes when you've got it. So when you've got this roof, for example, it will butt up nicely to it. But if you turn it around this way, it won't, but you can just drop it down to the next hole, and then that way it gives you that nice transition. So that's the ClickyWall system. So we got like the porch down here, this bit, obviously it doubles up. So you've got your bottom porch section, and then the top roof is just attached to the wall that you put above it. Inside you've got the floors. Don't know if you can see it, I'll probably see it better on this one. So inside you've got those floor systems. These floors, when you pick it up, the floors are loose. Now this is intentional. I didn't want these clicking in and making it difficult to remove them. This way you can take them in and out easily just by sort of sliding them in like that, or popping them in through the top. And there's different types of floor as well. So you've got the solid floor, and then you've got this one which allows you to have your stairs. Again, the stairs are very chunky. This system isn't technically accurate. It's all about playability. When you're painting and, you know, printing your miniatures, you want them to be really accurate and detailed for painting and all the rest of it. But when it comes to your scatter terrain and your scenery and things like that, you want something that's super functional. I always say to my patients, I'm a clinician, and I make biomechanical removable prosthetic devices, which basically means I make dentures. But I'm always explaining to my patients that you've got aesthetics of what it looks like, and you've got functionality, and you know, there's a balance between the two. So you can either have them super functional, which won't look as good, or you can have them looking amazing but won't function very well. And so you usually want to be somewhere on that scale. And you know, you find that women will say, well, I want them to look amazing, I don't care about eating. And then men will say, well, I just want to eat my pies and don't care what it look like. So it's figuring out what that level of functionality versus aesthetics is. And for this is all about functionality. You know, you can get these big buildings like this that are pre-made, they look amazing. I've painted a load myself and thoroughly enjoyed it. However, what I've found is that although they look really nice on the table, firstly, they kind of detract away from the monsters and that you're bringing out that look amazing and painted with all the detail. But that's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem for me is the size of them. They're heavy, They're really big. Then you need to store them somewhere. And then you've got the weight of them and moving them around on the table. And yes, they have split sections, some of them, so you can open it up, but you might find that they're really small and you've spent months doing it. And I've got like 3 or 4 of them now, and they look really good. But my table looks the same every time because I'm bringing out the same buildings. So the playability of them is not that great. Whereas this, you can do a whole session, build all your buildings. Next time you come down, you don't have to take them apart completely, but you could say, well, instead of having 3 long floors like we got in this tavern, you could have a couple of towers, and maybe a bridge going across them, or you could have lots of little houses. With whatever you've got, every time you print some more out, you can just keep adding it to the same buildings. You could just have one massive building if you wanted to. So the flexibility of this, in other words, the functionality of this is much better. Which brings me back to the staircase. So it's very basic. If you've got loads of little steps, that's aesthetics. It looks like a real staircase, but the playability of it is rubbish because it'd be like trying to stand on the roof. You're just going to slide off. Whereas if you've got something like this, you can go, right, well, you've got that height advantage, things like that. You're actually using the staircase, which becomes part of the game, which is more important, I think, than the actual aesthetics. So having a beautiful staircase that you can't even use. So that's where I've gone with this. It's also the chunky detail works really well with FDM because you don't want a very basic pattern on there that, you know, with all those sharp little details. These are really sort of chunky, overemphasized, and I think that makes them really nice when you're playing as well, because these look great on the table even if you don't paint them. Or if you really do want to put a bit of paint on, you could just put a black wash on, or you could do a little bit of white dry brush in just to enhance them a little bit more. Or if you wanted to, you can go full hog and paint them all up to, you know, to look much better than they do, just to be in the standard grey. And I like painting them in the standard grey because it gives, for me, I think it gives the right kind of aesthetic in terms of light and shadow. So if you paint them black, you don't see all the detail. You paint them white, look horrible. But the mid-tone greys are pretty good. Having said that, again, you can print them however you want with whatever filament you want. This is just a basic cheap PLA matte filament. They're all printed on the bamboo. I've got a couple of bamboos. I've got an A1. They've all been printed on that. I've also got a H2D, which is fantastic print, a lot more expensive, but gives better results. And that's, yeah, so that's the ClickyWalls, the ClickyWalls system that I've invented. And the reason I've invented it is because, as I said before, I looked everywhere online for something like this, and there was a few different systems out there, but they were either too chunky, like some that I've seen, like big thick walls that used up loads of filament, and then they didn't really click together properly. So great for printing with resin printers maybe, but not really benefited from the filament printer. So I wanted something that would just click together and I could pick it up and shake it and chuck it about and not worry about it getting damaged, which is exactly what this is. And it's just standard PLA, cheap PLA. If you want to, you could print it with something like a carbon filament to make it a lot stronger. I haven't tried that yet, but I've been using these, clicking them, and they've been absolutely fine. Obviously, if you're too rough with them, you can break them. They're not indestructible, but they're a lot stronger, I think, than the resin print. So resin's got a more sort of rigidness to it, so it's hard but brittle. So you could easily snap it, but it's very hard, it's good hard wearing. Whereas this, it's got a more tensile strength, so it's got a little bit more give, a little bit more flex to it, which is perfect for having all these little bits that snap together. So as I said, this is the starter set. Now, the good thing about this is this core set for this Tavern is completely free. You get all these bits, all you have to do is register, you download the file, you get a whole bunch of STLs that you can print as many as you want, and this is all you ever need if you want to build a whole town. You've got everything here that you need. But obviously, there's loads of ways that I'm going to be expanding on this. I've got the Tudor set, which goes with this really well because this is all brick. Everything's brick on there, all the doors and windows and everything. The Tudor set will be plaster and beam, so if you're interested, go and have a little look at that. Go and check that one out. It works really well with this, so you could have your brick down the bottom, for example, and then your higher levels, like in the old Tudor buildings, it would be more plaster or wattle and daub and the big oak beams. So that's the next one that I'm working on. And another one that I'm working on is a castle section. So we've got drawbridge, the gatekeep doors, like the big castle doors, and obviously a portcullis. That's really cool, that set. So I've already done that part of it, but what I'll be working on next will be like the crenellations on all the battlements and the towers and tower roofs and things like that, on flagstones, so different types of floors. So at the moment, the free ones are the wooden planks, but we've got little cobblestones, flagstones, and a few other ones in the pipeline. Now, depending on when you watch this, they may already be out. I've got lots of plans. I'm absolutely loving designing these. And the other thing is that it's an open license as well. So if you want to print these out and sell them, I'm absolutely fine with that. Obviously, you can't share the STL files. That's my IP. But in terms of changing these up, if you want to design your own walls, you can. Using the basic setup that we've got for this would be really easy if you know what you're doing with a 3D program, to just take out the wall section in the middle, keep your basic framework, and then make whatever you want that will fit in and use however you want. The other things that we've got is like the half walls, so rather than the full one like that, it's just little half walls. There's fences like that, or we've got prison walls, prison gates, all sorts of stuff to come. It's brilliant to play with. Once you start actually using these in game, it's fantastic. It really is, because it's so quick. You can turn up. Well, if you're a DM, you have to turn up before your players, get everything set up, and it doesn't take long just to put some of these houses together. Some of these buildings, and you can have it all ready to go for when your players turn up. But if you want to, during your game, you might think, oh, actually, I want a little balcony on there, and you can just take a bit and snap it on. Or you might think you want a different type of roof, or whatever it might be. It's really easy to chop and change it up, which there's no other system on the market that does anything like this. Another system I saw actually, which was similar, but it was all little bits, and it's on a grid system. I can't remember what it's called. It almost reminded me of like Gridfinity. So you have a grid that you print out, and then it's all little blocks that you put in. It looked really good, but I think would take a long time to actually put something like that together. Like you be hours just to get a little thing, whereas this system just takes a few minutes. And that's why I love it. And I love playing D&D. I wanted a system like this. As I said, I couldn't find it online, so I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to make my own, and I have. I'm really proud of it, and I absolutely love playing with it. And part of the reason why I wanted to give this one away for free as well, so I could just put it in people's hands, just so they can have as much fun with it as I do. And if you do love it, all I ask is that you just share it with people. Just say, look, guys, have you seen this? And just share it. Because the more hands that we can get this in, the better. So hope you like this system, guys. As I say, it's not going to cost you anything. If you've got an FDM printer, it prints with filament, then definitely download the file, absolutely free. Print a few walls out, print a few of the little connection things out, if you're floor and a roof, and have a little play with it and see what you think. And I guarantee that once you've printed a few of these out, you'll get the bug and you'll want to print more and more. I've got thousands of these printed off now. But yeah, let me know in the comments if it's something that you like. And also, if you do any alterations to it, please share it with us, share it in the community. We'd love to just see, I want to see this evolved. It's like, there's only so much I can do with it, but I will be bringing out lots more bundles over the next few years, but I'd really love to see what other people's ideas are and pushing it to its limits. And yeah, I really look forward to seeing it. So thanks for watching, guys. If you want to keep track of me with this system, if you want to keep track of me building this system, all the latest updates, what I'm getting up to, subscribe to this channel, and yeah, give us a like as well, because that will help other people find it. Thanks, guys. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.